Hi everyone, my name's Neil Fisher. I'm the Principal Architect and Financial Strategist for Wealthcraft Financial Coaching. I've just finished up in the Army after 47 years, and while I was doing that, I was an investor and I was a trader. Finance is my passion, so I started studying wealth creation, managed investments, retirement, superannuation, insurance, taxation, all those issues that have made me who I am now, that I can actually contribute back to people to help them get their finances under control. In the military, it's where I was, it was all about strategic thinking. And one of the analogies I can draw on quite easily is asset allocation for a portfolio. If you put all your eggs in one basket, if you put all your military strategy into one item, then you don't have the range to actually affect the enemy. So if you put all your eggs into equities and the equity market goes down, then you've got nothing to cushion that blow. So you take the full fall of the stock market. So that's just one of the areas where I see where strategic allocation, strategic thinking can help people in the finance space. Well, essentially, it's about getting a budget under control first and foremost. Once you've done that, then you can work out whether you can save or you can invest, which is the next step after saving. And then on the other side of the budget is the debt and deficit side. Can we bring that under control? Can we get your budget balanced or indeed in the positive so that we can set you on that glide path to actually having better financial security? So the first step is we would conduct a one-on-one interview, and I would go through what we call the discovery session. And that's where I ask the client all about how their assets are going, what their savings look like, their debt, their investments and that, and pull that all together. And I do a comprehensive report on where we can work with that client to better their financial situation, or indeed fix up some of the things that might be a little bit out of kilter since they last did it. Or indeed, if they've already been to a financial planner and they already have a plan or a portfolio, I can review that. And that's where I think I can add value using my sense of experience in portfolio development to actually go there and try and help that client get a better portfolio or a better outcome for what they want. Because sometimes people already have these things done, but it's not achieving their outcome. So that's where I think I can add value. So a financial planner can only really list the things that they're licensed to do. For example, they might be licensed to talk about superannuation. They might be licensed to talk about equities. It's very rare that you'll get a financial advisor that can talk about the full spectrum. Okay, in my case, I can, because I'm a financial coach, and although I can only give general advice, in real terms, what that means is I'm one of the 2% that can actually give advice on any product, on any strategy that suits the client, not because it's something that the financial advisor is going to get a kickback for, get a commission on, or indeed advantage himself through that client. What I do is I look at basically a flat rate, and I use that depending on the client's needs. If the financial situation the client finds himself in is not too complex, then a standard fee will apply and I will go through and do that. What I normally do in the coaching space is educate the people so they can take charge of their own affairs when we've gone through the coaching process. So what that looks like is we'll do a discovery session, and then from there, I can then recommend whether somebody needs a small amount of help, a medium amount of help, or a lot of help, where we can put those people on a 12-month program on a subscription basis, and then I can help them every month until they feel comfortable that they've got their financial situation under control or more secure for their own objectives. Well, as a coach, I don't think that I discriminate between clients. In the coaching program, helps everybody equally. But there will be different strategies, obviously, for high net worth individuals, or let's say the demographic of 30 to 40-year-olds that have got kids trying to buy a house or have a house and are struggling with their school fees and the like to get ahead. So that's an example of where, two different groups and demographics of people can be helped equally. One of the groups of people that I work with are generally people that are asset rich but cash poor. So what I mean by that is they have a lot of assets, but they don't have the cash flow to deal with all those day-to-day things, including school fees and other debts that roll in, like fixed debts that come in every month. So what I try and do is work with those guys is to free up some cash flow so they can also deal with the day-to-day bump and grind of life rather than owning the 4 houses but have no money to pay for a new washing machine or the car needs servicing or whatever it is. When we're talking about goals, we generally lay out short, medium and long-term goals. So a short-term goal could be something like saving an emergency fund, getting a new washing machine, something like that. In the medium term, we can look at something like a savings plan for families going on holidays. We could look at something like an objective that the family has wanted to buy, something like a big swing set for their kids, or indeed new bikes or whatever that is. And in the long term, that's more about your wealth creation, where we're talking about saving up for a deposit on a house. We're talking about maybe a huge overseas holiday if you're close to retirement and you want to do that, or we're looking at paying down a huge amount of debt. So in working with me to achieve those goals, as I said, we look at it in the short, medium and long term, and we come up with a strategy against each one of those goal sets. And I go through a complete goal session where I assist the client to actually put down all that on paper, and then we prioritize those things, and then we work out how are we going to fund each one of those. So in relation to goals, just recently I've helped some people with a taxation issue, which was quite easy to solve. People had salary problems that I helped them with, retirement problems, superannuation problems, well away from the Div 296 pressing issue. And there are a lot more goals and objectives that I can actually help you with locally if you feel that you want to come and have that chat with me. And I've done some posts for Carindale people, and some of the neighbours and people around in Carindale have already helped in certain areas. So yeah, they've come to Wealthcraft's boardroom, if you like, where we can sit down and discuss those issues in private, and I can step through any of the programs that we might do. But certainly, if you're local, you can certainly come here and we'll discuss your issue and work out the best way forward. I get that people feel that unease when they're talking about their financial situation and their money environment. So here at Wealthcraft, what I try and do is ease that burden and just make sure that we're all comfortable with what we're doing, and we use a strategy that you are very comfortable with. So no matter where you are in your wealth journey, we've got the knowledge and the ability at Wealthcraft here to help you along there. And indeed, I've put quite recently some people on their glide path towards their retirement based on setting up those objectives and goals. So there's a number of ways that you can get in contact with Wealthcraft Financial Coaching. First one is you can go to our website, www.wealthcraftfinancialcoaching.com. And on there are all the details to get in contact with us. And also on there, you can book something that you think is relevant, because I also deal with specific financial issues as well as doing a full coaching program. So it's just a matter of contacting us and we can talk you through what might be best for your situation.